Hello, welcome to What the Kids Need. Today we're going to talk about praise. You can never praise a child to the point that you will spoil them. There's been that idea around there that you can do this. As long as it's honest praise and you're not just faking it, it's a good thing to do. You have to remember that children, how they're formed is what we tell them about them. So your voice, what you say to your child, becomes the inner voice of the dialogue that your child hears. So your child hears what they're like through your voice, which is kind of scary because if you've been saying bad things to your kids, that's what they hear they're like. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I think that I'm trying to be the voice of the children so people understand what it's like to stand in the child's shoes and hear what they hear. I have heard parents say the most dreadful things to children, and I've been watching it and thinking that child has that as their inner dialogue. Whereas if their parents had been saying things that were of praise, that would now become your child's inner dialogue. And I want you to start working on your child's inner dialogue by what you say to them and how you treat them, of course, but also by what you say to them. Praise them for what they do well. Maximize their good things, minimize their bad things. And in that way, you'll grow up a child who has confidence and will reach out and take risks. Because children are tentative and frightened because of what they've been told about themselves. I remember my mother telling me that we were two sisters, we were the two of us, and my mother told me that I had the personality and my sister had the looks. That stayed with me forever. She told me that when I think I was 11 or 12. And that never actually went away. I had to do some real big, heavy work on myself to get rid of that one. It didn't mean that what she said was true, but the way she said it became my inner dialogue. Praise your children every day. Tell them, of course, how much you love them and how much you care about them, how special they are to you, but actually praise them and be very, very specific when you do praise. You are really good at doing puzzles. I love the way you're so interested in maths, and you seem to have a really strong gift for maths. The colours that you use in your drawings are beautiful. I think you sort of got a bit of an artist in you, haven't you? You're a great dancer. I love the way you dance. You need to be reprogramming in a good way what they hear about themselves and take in. And that will become their voice, like, I'm a good dancer because I was told that. And we're the same. We are programmed by what people tell us. As you get older, of course, you start to put it past the truth thermometer, and sometimes it doesn't work that well. They're telling you things you're like, no, that's not me, that's you projecting you. But that will take a skill for later. When we do this, we create in our children a healthy child. A child is a healthy child. And when they're not very good at that, when we use words like improving, getting better, you seem to have a handle on that. Gee whiz, you couldn't throw 10 hoops last week. You can build on what their weaknesses are too without talking to them about the weaknesses. So you change the weakness into a possible strength. For example, like, oh wow, you only got 10 of the tables right last week, and this week you got 15. Gee, you're fabulous. That's great. I believe that when you start to realise that what you're saying to your child is what they hear about themselves, it will make you change what you say to your child. And separate the behaviour from the child. I've done the podcast on that, but you need to separate what they do to who they are. Our behaviour is, when we're a child, is not significant to who we are. It's just a learned thing. We see it, we go somewhere, we see someone, I don't know, throwing something at the wall, so we come home and throw something at the wall because you see that's a behaviour that's out there, so you just do it. And you just need correction, you just need your parent to explain to you that's a behaviour we don't really want to do. People do it, and in some places they get away with it, but mostly we don't do that. It's important for children to know that they are good at things. It builds their confidence. If someone's telling you, that's better, you can do it, that's what you need. And even as adults, we get told that, don't we? People will say, no, you'll get through it, you're strong, you can do it. And then that gives us the strength to do it. Or if we're doing a project and it's difficult and we're hitting a few roadblocks, if you've got a friend who says to you, you'll find a way around it. Just plod on. You can do it. I think you'll be successful. I think you'll pass this exam, etc., etc. Then we hear that we can do that, and people have belief in us. And praise comes with belief. They go together. So when you praise somebody, you're believing in them, and then they begin to believe in themselves. And you will find that you will see your child mimic this behaviour of yours and start to tell other people, no, Dad, you're really good at fixing things, or Mum, you're really good as a cook, or Dad, you're really good as a barbecue cook, or whatever it is that they see their parents doing. They will then praise them, and then they will build up that as well in the other person. If you talk about the areas, you can do the physical part, what they look like, and say really positive things of praise. How they are caring to other people, that's another area you can go into, the emotional part. You're such a kind-hearted child. You're so considerate of other people, always thinking about and doing things for them. You're such a sweetheart. Then you can go into the mental part. You're very good at this. You're very smart at how you remember your spelling. You're an excellent reader. And then you can go into the other areas, which is how they behave, which is more like the psychology of how we behave. And you can talk about what great behaviour they have. And when we went out, you were so well behaved and careful about what you said and did around people. And I noticed that when we were at the party, you helped that little toddler, and you were so good with them. You can find areas every day, praise them and their behaviours. So start to praise your children. Don't listen to the old stories about, you'll spoil the child. You will not. You will grow the child, and you will also grow their potential. So if you've got a child who's very gifted or smart, it's good to tell them that they're gifted and smart. They won't get a big head. They'll understand that they're a bit different. For example, maybe they're a fabulous artist and they're always drawing. It's good to tell them that, because then they can more easily reach their potential, because you're actually validating their gift. And I think if they're good at sport, perhaps they're wonderful at gymnastics, telling them how good they are at this helps them to cement their gift into them and gives them more encouragement, because praise is all about encouragement. Just telling someone something nice, to praise someone, just makes them feel so much better. When you praise people, even if they diss you off a little bit and go like, oh no, I don't think so, it goes in. But with children, it definitely goes in, because children are like sponges and they will take in everything that you say and remember it. And if you look back on your childhood, you will remember the things that were said to you, the things that hurt and smarted people said, your parents and other family members or friends or even the neighbours. You will always remember those things. And they in some ways have more power than all the positives, unfortunately, because they just hit you in the heart and they hurt you and they upset you. And they always stay with you, and then you have to go away and do some work on that, Off you go, praise your kids. Of course, you should be praising everybody. We all should be doing that every day, saying good things to other people. And remember that you can't praise somebody enough. And particularly with children, you want to make their inner dialogue a happy one, a healthy one, an encouraging one, a positive one, where they know what they're good at. They feel they can reach the skies. The sky's no limit in some ways. And they also feel that on the areas that maybe they're struggling, that you're praising them in terms of their improvement. There's a little saying that practice makes perfect, but someone I heard say actually practice makes permanent, which I thought was actually better. Just say to them, practice makes permanent. So the more you practice it, the more you'll be able to do it. It's like everything, you just sometimes have to do it a lot of times for it to almost sink in, and then you'll be able to do it. Spend the week praising your children. Remember that everything coming out of your mouth is now going to be in their psyche, and they're going to carry that for the rest of their life. And if you said things before that now you regret, use the improvement one. I know I said you were no good at maths, but I can see that I was wrong. Your maths is just improving more and more. You just didn't feel confident. And that's the other thing. If you want a confident child, you can't be telling them that they're bad at everything and their behaviour is terrible, because the child's self-esteem will just plummet. And we're here to build up that child's self-esteem. That's our role as parents, and that's why praise is the way to go. But it has to be honest, of course. You can't just be telling them they're good at maths when they're bad. You just got to be telling them they're improving at maths, and you can see an improvement, and practice makes permanent, and we can get this better. Enjoy your children. They're such a gift from the heavens. And remember that what comes out of your mouth is so important. And if you're the only one of your partnership listening to this, the only mum or dad, speak to the other mum and dad about this, because I think it's really, really important. Because, you can have one parent saying wonderful, positive praise, and the other parent actually upsetting the cart by always criticising and almost disempowering the child by saying they're useless or no good or an idiot. And we've all seen that and heard that. And the trouble is that for the most part, I actually always think it's the parent who's like that because of what they're saying. And the thing is, we can't change what we got genetically. We get born with certain genes, and we just have to really make the most of it. That's all for this week on that section. I hope you found that interesting. And so I'm sending you lots of love to you and your children, and lots of light.